Hey guys, my name is Nick and welcome to my channel. Remember back to like 2 seconds ago when I posted a video about the stuff leaving Netflix in April and it was a huge bummer? Well, it's another month, so they're at it again, and that means that I'm back again to let you know what is leaving Netflix this month, so that way you can create a binge guide for yourself so you don't miss any of the good stuff that's leaving. Kicking things off on the first, we lose John Carter. I know by the time you're watching this, it's already gone. What a huge bummer. No one has ever given a damn about this movie. But in case you do, it's gonna be on Disney+, so don't be too bummed. On the 15th, we lose a couple of good ones, starting with Limitless, a Bradley Cooper thriller where he plays a man who invents a drug that expands the potential of the human brain, which of course has positive and negative effects. This movie was a little bit of a hit at the box office, and it even spawned a TV show. Speaking of Bradley Cooper, on the same day we also lose The Place Beyond the Pines, one of my personal favorites. This tale of cops and robbers, fathers and sons, has an epic scope in terms of the spiritual journeys that the characters within this film go through. And I don't mean to be hyperbolic, but I think this is one of the best movies of the 2010s. It's one of my all-time favorite movies ever, so it is a bit of a bummer that it's going to be gone because it's one that I like to regularly recommend, so I highly recommend checking this one out before it's gone. On the 17th, we lose all 8 seasons of comedy series Royal Pains about a doctor in the Hamptons. If you're an extreme binger and you're up for the challenge, get on it. And on the 18th, we lose all 7 seasons of Scandal, also for extreme bingers if you want to try and clear this out. I never got into this show, but I know that it has its fans, so if you want to watch it before it's gone on Netflix, get started. On the 19th, we begin to lose a whole nother slew of good stuff, including the virus thriller Carriers, starring Chris Pine and Piper Perabo. I really wouldn't blame you if you're not in the mood for this one, but also, it's not that good. What's Eating Gilbert Grape is a 90s cult classic about a young man living in a small town who has trouble pursuing his dreams while also taking care of his autistic brother and morbidly obese mother. I'm here for it for the 1993 Johnny Depp, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Juliette Lewis, but I have to admit this is one of the few movies that I can say has made me cry. Evolution is an early 2000s sci-fi comedy from director Ivan Reitman that stars David Duchovny, Julianne Moore, and Seann William Scott. Of course, in this one, a meteor crash lands on Earth, and so an unlikely group of people will have to work together in order to save the day. I remember really enjoying this movie when I rented it from Blockbuster back in the day, but obviously it's been a while. So I watched this one last night, and I have to say, I still really liked it. There's some bad problematic humor, of course, but not as much as I was expecting. This is one of those top priority recommendations, so if you like Ghostbusters, definitely watch Evolution. The First Wives Club, another 90s gem, just gone, but not forgotten. This one stars Goldie Hawn, Bette Midler, and Diane Keaton as a group of friends who decide to get even with their ex-husbands who left them for younger women. This movie might be kind of low-key, but it's one of my personal favorites. It Takes Two, the #1 Olsen twins movie. Duh, hello 90s babies. This take on The Parent Trap follows the two twins as complete opposites who decide to swap places so that they can get different tastes of life. And this movie has an 8% on Rotten Tomatoes. And to that I say, to hell with you Rotten Tomatoes, because 8-year-old me loved It Takes Two. I'm sure it would be painful to watch today, but you know what? Whatever, I don't care, I'm still defending it. She's Out of My League is a hilarious romantic comedy starring Jay Baruchel as a nerdy dude who manages to get the lovely Alice Eve to fall for him. I think this movie is really funny and better than your typical romantic comedy, and it's a bummer that it's going because I included this in my video on comedy gems on Netflix, but I don't really think anyone watched that, so it's fine. Young Adult, another one of my favorite hidden gems, so put this on the list. Charlize Theron plays a young adult novelist who was the total homecoming queen back in high school, but now she's kind of suffering a nervous breakdown, so she heads to her hometown to try and win back her high school boyfriend from his current wife. And yeah, this movie is so interesting. It's a very dark comedy, and it's very dry, so I know it isn't for everyone, but I would say at least just give it a shot. Try watching it because it's one of my favorite underseen gems. Yours, Mine, and Ours, the original one. I've never seen it, but from what I can tell, it's the store brand version of Cheaper by the Dozen. On the 25th, we lose Canadian werewolf show Bitten, which is kind of True Bloody it looks like, but I tried to get into it. It didn't really happen for me, so if there are any Bitten stands out there, convince me to watch it. I got a couple of weeks and I like a challenge. On the 31st, we lose another slew of great stuff, starting with the Austin Powers movies, which I have not seen in forever, so I might need to do some binging here just for that 90s nostalgic goodness. Dear John is a romantic drama starring Channing Tatum and Amanda Seyfried, and it's a Nicholas Sparks adaptation, so you know that they're just gonna fall in love, but then one of them is gonna die of cancer, and you're gonna cry, and everyone's gonna cry, and it's gonna be terrible. Maybe this one will have like a rare spleen condition. That would be a nice way to switch it up, I think. Looney Tunes Back in Action is a Looney Tunes movie, obviously. That's part animation, part live action. You let me know if anyone on Earth has actually seen this movie. Ghosts of Girlfriends Past is a romantic comedy starring Matthew McConaughey and Jennifer Garner, but I've never seen it. However, I've heard plenty of people try to get me to watch it. So if you're into romantic comedies, this one appears to be decent. As I noted in my Netflix horror movie recommendations video, the Final Destination movies are leaving at the end of the month, which is totally unfortunate, but you do have all month to squeeze in a death-defying movie binge, unless of course that car accident scene from the second one is a little too stress-inducing for you. I don't blame you. I don't think a single person on this earth will ever drive behind a log truck ever again. My Girl is another sad 90s movie that follows a young girl who makes friends with Macaulay Culkin, and it explores their relationship while she's also dealing with her dad, moving on from her dead mom and dating Jamie Lee Curtis, and this movie will break your heart. If it doesn't, you're not even human. You're just not. The Naked Gun 1 and 2 are parody movies starring Leslie Nielsen as a bumbling detective, and I know I've seen some bits and pieces of at least one of these on TV back in the day, but it's been a while, although I do love me some parodies. Red Dawn, the remake with Chris Hemsworth, because you gotta love that Chris Hemsworth. But you don't have to love this movie because it sucks. Although I never liked the original or this one. It follows the US being invaded, I think this time by North Korea, and then typical people gotta, get into their gun collections and save the country. Outbreak, the 90s virus thriller that is so boring you won't care if it has any life-saving secrets in it. Richie Rich, another Macaulay Culkin movie that I probably would not be able to sit through as an actual adult, but as a kid, this was my shit. Those are the best things leaving Netflix in the month of May. It's kind of a bummer because Netflix is the #1 streaming service, but with the streaming wars ramping up, they seem to be the first to start to suffer because Netflix, they gained their massive subscriber base. We all love Netflix because they had so many different TV shows and movies from all over the place in one spot. But with everyone and their brother starting their own streaming service, content is being spread really thin. And I know that Netflix has a ton of original content, but really, when you look at their shows, which ones would you consider to be rewatchable? Maybe Stranger Things and Mindhunter, but they don't have a whole lot of shows that you want to go back to the way you would Parks and Rec or 30 Rock or things like that. And their movies, their original movies are fine, but it's they make headlines for maybe a weekend and then everyone forgets about them. They just put out basic stuff, and I want Netflix to succeed. I do, but honestly, with each and every month, I just see more of the good stuff leaving Netflix and less of the good stuff coming in, which is a bummer, but it's not all bad. We do have some good stuff coming to Netflix. So I'm going to get onto that video. I'm going to record that video right now, actually. I'm just going to get you this next video ready together to go. So subscribe to my channel. Subscribe, be on the lookout, hit the bell, do whatever you got to do, because I don't think YouTube is trying to put my videos out there at all, because I'm a tiny YouTuber. So be on the lookout for my video on movies that are coming to Netflix in the month of May. There is some good stuff, so we'll talk about that in the next video. But thank you so much for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it as always. Like, share, all that good stuff. That's it for this video, but I won't stop you from watching another.